So I got a tattoo. Yeah. What's up, guys? It's Chermel here. So I graduated like last week. So basically, as a present like to myself, I got a tattoo. I've always wanted a tattoo, and my parents really were never for it. Like, they don't believe in all that with people tattooing. They just think it's crazy and stuff. But I'm 18 and stuff now, and I talked them into it, and plus the tattoo has meaning, so they agreed to it. So basically, this video I just want to tell you guys about my experience and all that type of stuff, and questions that people would have if they're thinking of getting a tattoo and stuff. So to start off, this was my first tattoo. Basically, it's simple. It's Roman numerals. It's the date I graduated from high school. It is June 20th, 2017 in Roman numerals. So basically, the first step that you want to do before getting a tattoo is think of what you're getting. Think of the design, the concept. Just think about every detail of it. If you're an artist, you can even draw it out yourself, or if you're not an artist and you still have a specific vision of how you want it to look, you can take it upon yourself to draw it out and stuff. But for mine, for this being Roman numerals, it was really simple. So the first step, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, is to just first of all make sure that what you're getting is something you really, really want. It's good to get opinions from other people to see what other people think, but you don't have to listen to people. It's all up to you, because this is gonna be on your body for the rest of your life. So it's your choice about whether you go through with it or not. But just think about it really before you get it. Don't just get it because a friend dared you to or something stupid. Just think about it. So once you already have your design or whatever you want picked out and all, start researching places. You can either find a place in your area, or maybe it's some Hollywood tattoo artist that you're into or something, and you want to travel away out there or something and have that person do it. Whatever you're doing, just research first. Look into what the shop looks like, make sure it's reliable, make sure they have the certifications and all to be tattooed, and make sure it's not unsafe environment. Just make sure it's safe and stuff, so you won't get diseases, infections, and all that type of stuff. But so yeah, do research on a shop first. Once you get a shop or a couple shops or so, I suggest that you go and visit them, maybe talk with some of the artists, show them what you're thinking about, and just discuss it. So another question people have is pricing. So basically, you go to the tattoo shop and you give them your idea, you tell them whatever, and they'll either sketch it up for you, you can bring your own sketch, whatever. And so once they have that up and have a size of wherever they're putting it on your body, right away they'll tell you exactly how much that's going to cost, because it's pretty much based off of size and the complexity of whatever the thing is that you're getting put on you. Basically, now the experience. So you go to the shop. Some shops do walk-ins, some don't, some it's different policies for every shop. So the shop I went to, they take walk-ins every single day, but they also do appointments too. So anyway, so the first day that I went was a mix-up with the identification stuff and all. Because in the state of New Jersey, you can get tattooed at 16, but you have to have a parent's consent with you there to sign. But once you're 18, you can do whatever you want, basically. But I had to issue my passport and all that was expired, so I had to get identification. So I came back on the Monday. I made an appointment for that Monday, so I came back on Monday at the time of the appointment. And so the guy already had my design and everything of what I wanted, and we just redid it because it was a couple days since the other time I was there before that. So you give the guy your design, and then on the computer he types it up, and he showed me different fonts, and I got to play with the fonts, going with the standard Times New Roman font. So after he does that, he prints out the paper, and he prints it a couple times in different text sizes. And so basically I got it on my forearm right here, and so we did a really small one from the start, and we made it because I wanted to be able to see it, but then I didn't want it to be too small, but I didn't want it to be too big either. So we did a couple of sizes first, and then so once we got that straight, then that only took 2 or 3 minutes. And then so he took me into the back, into the room. He put out an armrest thing where I had to hold my arm out like this, and it was elevated kind of, and he he cleaned. That's an important thing. That's what I meant by research the shop, because he cleaned everything down with some type of sterilization thing. Like he wiped everything. He put a fresh wrap on the armrest and everything. And so I put my arm there. The first thing he did was that he wiped my arm down with like some type of bacteria, whatever soap, like it might have been, I don't know what it was, but it was like some type of sanitizer. And he did that like 3 or 4 times. So after he did that, then he took the thing that he printed out, and it was like some type of transfer paper, and he put that on and peeled it off, and it gives you like a temporary tattoo. So you can see what it looks like basically, and if they need to change the position, change the size or anything like that, that's when they do it, because it's just a fake one. But if you don't speak up at that moment and say it's not right or something wrong or they missed a letter or something like that, you're gonna be messed up. So after that, so he had me get up and I looked in like this height-length mirror, and I held my arm out to like look at to see like how it looked, and so I liked it. So then I came and sat back down, and then so he it was like residue or something around it, so he had to wipe that off first with like the same sanitizer stuff. And then once he did that, I saw him put the like ink stuff in the needle thing and all, and he cleaned everything. Like I was watching, like everything he did, he cleaned everything. Like I said, that's an important key. If you get in there and you don't see them cleaning anything, they just start working on you, I think you should just get out and run, because you're gonna probably end up with some type of infection or something. But he cleaned everything thoroughly, like I was saying. And so then he got started. He turned the needle on, and well, actually before that I forgot. So like you can shave your arm or whatever part you're getting done. It's recommended that you shave it ahead of time, but even if you don't, it doesn't matter. They will shave it for you. So like I did go with my arm, but he took even more hair off, because it basically would get in the way, I guess, of the ink of where it goes, or probably wouldn't even go in your skin if you had hair all over, I guess. But he took a razor, and it was a fresh razor, so that's another thing to look out for too. If they're shaving, to make sure it's a fresh razor, make sure it wasn't used on somebody else. But yeah, so the brand new razor, he shaved like lightly the hair off my arm and stuff. And then he turned on the needle, and so surprisingly, it's not really as loud. Like I think back in the day, probably the needles were louder, but I guess they're getting quieter and quieter now. But you could hear it doing that buzzing noise, and so I didn't even realize that he had started putting it in my skin really until like a few minutes later, because it really didn't even hurt. Like it really was. It's hard to describe it, but I'll tell you, it didn't hurt at all. But like basically, I don't know what to compare it to, but it really just, I mean, in a sense, I guess it hurt a little bit. But it wasn't like, if you go to the doctor and get like a shot in your shoulder or something, or your arm, like it didn't feel like, you know how that hurts, but it didn't feel like that type of pain. Like it was like you could feel the vibration, but it was like more like a pinching. But it really just, no matter what I look at, it really wasn't ever painful. It was more like just uncomfortable kind of. But then after a while, it's like it kind of just got invisible. It's like I didn't notice anything was in my skin at all. And so the tattoo artist, he started talking, like he told me, like tell him about myself and like what am I into, like what do I do or whatever. And so he was really nice and stuff. And so actually we talked about music and stuff, and he plays and stuff, and he plays bass and everything. I started telling him how I play all the instruments and all that stuff. So actually the good thing about it is that he gave me his number, but not in that type of way. To keep in contact, because he's thinking about working with me possibly as, he's a band or whatever over here, because he's a traveling tattoo artist and stuff, but he's thinking about working with me with drumming and stuff or whatever, because his band needed a drummer and stuff. So I don't know where that will take me, but yeah, he was cool. Like the whole time he talked while doing it, and it kept me calm basically. But I guess basically because of him talking, maybe that's why I didn't feel no pain. Because probably if I would have just been sitting there and been silent, maybe I would have felt something. And so also that's another thing too. I could have recorded it, I believe, because I didn't hear them say they had a policy on recording, but I just didn't. But I do know some places, on their website, it will say they don't allow you to record it. So if you go in there and you want to do something for YouTube or show people or whatever, ask first whether you can record or not. You don't want to like get yelled at or something. So but yeah, after he was done doing it, really, if he wouldn't have been doing all this talking, it literally would have taken probably like 10 minutes or less than that, because this was just a simple design. Like any artist could have done it, because there's certain pieces I think that only certain artists can probably do. But something like this, anybody literally could have done it, because it was just like tracing pretty much. So after he did that, he let me look at it. He kept it out for a minute. He had to clean up the station first, and then after he pulled out this like black bandage thing, and well, first he wiped it off with some type of sterile thing, and then he wrapped it with that band-aid on top, and then he put like the sandwich foil plastic around it, and then basically he told me the aftercare stuff. So aftercare procedure is that you keep the wrap on for about like an hour, up to 3 hours after it no longer, well, you can keep, the maximum time I heard you can keep it on is 8 hours, but after that, like, it's, I think bacteria or something starts to just like, so after that. But basically the maximum amount of time you can keep it on is 8 hours, but they say 1 to 3 hours after you get it done, keep it on. So I kept mine on for about 2 hours, and then I took it off. So the aftercare procedure is that as soon as you take it off, get some type of bacteria soap, not that scented soap or any of those types, just like a general bacteria soap. I use Dial, what I use. And so just only with your hand, don't use a rag or anything like that. Take your hand, make sure your hands are clean first, and then after that, dry your hands. But then rub the soap in the one hand, and you circle the tattoo with the water and soap on your hand, don't use a rag. And then after that, you have to dry it off, and as soon as you dry it, put some A&D on it or some type of bacterium cream or anything. Just don't use Neosporin or else it will make the tattoo come out spotty, like it will take away some of the ink apparently. But so after I did that, the procedure is that for up to 4 days after it, four times a day, and four times a day for 4 days after getting the tattoo. I have to clean it off with witch hazel, which is a astringent, and then I have to put the A&D on it for 4 days. But that's the most important thing about a tattoo. Make sure it doesn't dry out. Basically, they recommend that you put some type of vitamin ointment or unscented lotion on it at least like anywhere from 10 to 12 times a day. I don't mean like do it every 10 minutes, but like maybe like once or twice, like every couple hours or so, just throughout the day. If you're just chilling or something, then you just like think about it, just like put a little thin layer of lotion over it. Like also, you don't want so much lotion that it makes your whole tattoo look like greasy or whatever. Like that's too much. Then it just has to be like a thin coat just to make sure it's staying moist. I don't know what happens if it dries out. Maybe it cracks or something. But at least that's the aftercare procedure. And then also at some point, I think mine kind of is starting to peel a little bit, but at some point it's going to start to peel basically. And don't pull off the skin because you're just going to pull out the ink. By doing that, it ruins your tattoo and stuff. So just leave it alone. Naturally, the skin will just roll off like when you're cleaning it. Because like that's the other thing too. Every morning for the first 4 days, as soon as you wake up, make sure you do the same procedure with the soap and the water. Because at nighttime, you know, beds are filled with like bacteria or whatever. So just as soon as you wake up, just wash it. And so then basically, also the other thing I forgot to mention was pricing too. That's what I meant to say before. So this one, like I said, it wasn't a big piece. It wasn't like real art, but it did cost $100 straight up. But it was basically because of the size. Because I think if I would have shrunk this down maybe by like 2 or 3 sizes, it probably would have been like 70 or 80 something. Like it's all about the size really, and the complexity of what determines the price. So keep that in mind if you're getting a tattoo. It's like kind of a big investment kind of, and you have to just make sure you really want it. But I'll put a picture at the end of the video of the tattoo so you can see it close up and look at it. But stay tuned. Saturday I'll have another cover up, and throughout the summer more covers. I'm probably going to go off schedule and not do the Thursday, Saturday thing and just post probably at some point, maybe every day, whatever. But hope you guys have a good week.